Your old men shall dream dreams, dreams. Your young men shall see visions, visions, shall see visions. And afterward I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. And afterward I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, dreams. Your young men shall see visions, visions, shall see visions. And afterward I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. And afterward I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream
KEMBO,
dreams,
NZAMBI, MPUNGU, TULENDO, YAMAZULU, Somunina ni Somanda, Ngai, Murungu mwene nyaga, Molweni, Bantwana, Babawo, Oswe Mazulwini. Nusiemi betoa bombote bana baisole. Moriega shiana shiangai. Mpo salama watoto wa Mungu. Sawubona abantwana abangone. I greet you in the name of Sonini na Nini Somandla. Worthy is he to be praised. Yes, the mighty one of the Bantu. It's that time we sit and rightly divide the word of truth. Banabeto, we are at war. And we are fighting a war where the players are hidden, but we are not strangers to their devices. We have been given a narration by the Mundele as to our history. And as the spirit of TATA NZAMBI continues to pull amongst his sons and daughters, we continue to seek the truth. So let's get right into it, Banabeto. Now, the Mundele has attempted to deceive us by what they have been hiding in plain sight. They have given us names to confuse us as to exactly who the enemy is. So I'm calling this the alien inception. Among the Zulu, we know of a protagonist known as Samahongo. If you follow the cursor, that's his name, Samahongo. And this is the same identity or entity known as Samyaza. He's known to be the giver of names, the father of the giants, the Babantwari. Babantwari had another fallen angel, a female angel with whom they had union with, who is known as Zarantwari, which means mother of the mighty ones, because Ntwari in The Zulu language means a mighty one, or a giant if you prefer. She's known by many names: Tera, Ishta, and among the Zulu we hear of Samahongo, the protagonist, the one-eyed evil monster. That would be it's the best image I could get that gives a closer description as to folklore. And this Samahongo is what we know as the fallen ones, who came and descended after rebellion, and they taught the sons and daughters of Muntu. They go by another name, Chitauri. You can call them aliens, you can call them fallen angels, but in our language, we know them as the Chitauri. Yes, they've been telling you their name all along in the movies. If you go to the Zulu elders, they'll tell you about this. But I am no Zulu elder, so I'll give you the information that has been given to me. KEMBO, KEMBO, na TATA NZAMBI. So the Chitauri taught the sons of Muntu fornication, whereby the union between the daughters of Muntu and the sons of Muntu was supposed to give birth to Muntu. But now, with the descent of the Chitauri, they started coming upon the daughters of men and taught them that. And that is why you find in these pagan religions, we have a lot of phallic symbol worship. Their monuments, their architecture, it's all symbolic of the male phallus. And male symbols have been found by archaeological expeditions all over the world, Banabeto, and they are usually interpreted as an expression of the human desire for regeneration. Phallic worship in ancient Greece centered around Priapus, the son of Aphrodite, and the Orphic and the Dionysic cult, whom we know as Nimrod, Banabeto. Yes, the same Nimrod that was killed by, some will argue it was Esau, but we on the continent know that Nimrod was killed by Nsiemi. Nsiemi being the one of the illuminated path, Muderu or Mweru in the Sezulu folklore, if you may call it, which is actually the real history of Banabeto. Muderu, which is Mweru, is the root word which brings out Muderu or Weroine, which means the place of illumination. And we're not talking about the Illuminati, we're talking about the light that Banabeto shine, the Ubuntu fire. It can also mean one filled with light. Now, upon their descent, they also taught the sons of Muntu iron working. Yes, you've heard of the iron scepter. I would like to dislodge some of this misinformation that has been peddled by the Mundele. See, iron has not always been used by the Bantus. The Bantus were more of a copper and brass kind of people, and gold. And the name, you'll find that the Zulu name for iron is insimbi, which comes from the root word imbi, which implies evil. The word for war in Zulu is impi. We also find Banabeto that the Kitauri, which is actually Kitauri, is also where we find the Kiro. What you see here, the Kiro. The sign that Constantine was told he would conquer the world with after a light appeared to him. Now, we have it on good authority that this light was just a manifestation of the Chitauri. Upon looking further into this, Banabeto, I found two locations, Samahongo in Zambia and Samahongo in Lualaba. You see how close that is to Mbaba in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And my hypothesis, Banabeto, on this is that we, the Bantu, name places according to a significant event or a significant attribute towards that place. Like an example is Dar es Salaam, the city of peace. Jerusalem, the new peace, the new city of peace. Yeru is Jero, new. And these locations, Banabeto, led me, as you can see, they have weather stations. They monitor these locations, which was very interesting, which led me to Matobo. Matobo is about 35 kilometers south of Bulawayo in Zimbabwe, if I'm not wrong. Yes. Where we have the Matombo Hills with very interesting cave drawings. Like if I can zoom in into this one. You see, Banabeto, these are caves in Emboland. In the place where those who have been given the ancient knowledge understand that this is the last place on the continent where the Chitauri are known to still be active. And if you can ask those on the continent, we were warned against walking in the dark for this very same reason. And this very, what really pulled me to this location, Banabeto, is that when we look at the book of Joshua and the accounts in what they call their apocryphal books, I found parallels, very many parallels in this. So I had my scribes, the researchers, I would urge you to look further into this. I'm just putting it out there. And I also found out that the Sun Bushmen, you know, whom we know as the Hittites, lived in the hills about 2,000 years ago, leaving a rich heritage in hundreds of rock paintings. There are over 3,000 registered art sites, 5, which the main periods of painting between 30, 20, and 500 CE, they say. In the many crevices and caves, clay ovens, and other historic artifacts have been found, and various archaeological finds date back as far as to pre-Middle Stone Age around. I know the creation is not that old, so you're not going to deceive me, Mr. Mundele. Following major sites have been developed for tourist access. Batamba Cave is a major archaeological site located in the West National Park, north of the game park of Kezibulawayo Road. The frieze includes elephants, giraffes, warthogs, tsesebe, and mungus. Inake Cave has the most extensive paintings located in a remote cave accessible by a 3-hour hike from Togwana Dam. So Banabeto, you might want to look into that in case they want to tell you something else. Another something interesting I found is that the Chitauri or the fallen Meleki are known to be flesh eaters. So are their sons, the giants, then Twari or the mighty men, the Nyangire, if you prefer, sons of Impi, Samahongo, the ruler of Bilungi, the enemy, the one who seeks to exalt himself above the throne of TATA NZAMBI. But he has failed. He has tried to take over the world in World War II. They attempted in the early 20th century. They did it in the 1600s, and they kept records of that. And they are hidden among us. We know them as reptilians. And that is the enemy we fight, Banabeto. Man-eating. And how do we know this? Cut marks are used as evidence of cannibalism and have been reported at several different Neanderthal sites. If you don't know who the Neanderthals are, I suggest you go to Robert Hedley, Yaya's page. He has done an amazing breakdown of that. Like El Sidron and Goyet Cave, however, you know, the Mundele will always try and cover up his track. Inconvertible proof of intentional cannibalism is relatively rare, so they say. When analyzing marks on bones, archaeologists observe the taphonomy of the find. This means trying to untangle what has happened to it since it was deposited from its systemic or lifetime context. In short, that is how they cover up what they did. For example, upper limbs are usually disarticulated, removed from the body, whereas lower limbs, which have a higher nutritional value, are defleshed. The main evidence for cranial brain eating derives from cut marks and percussion marks found on the Neanderthal crania, suggesting skulls were exploited to get to the brain, which is also a very nutritious organ. Zulu folklore tells us that Nsiemi was killed by Nsiemi, the prophet, the mighty one of TATA NZAMBI, was killed by Baba, I don't like pronouncing his name, Samahongo. The evil one, who is called as Samyaza, the leader of the 72. And he's the one that has deceived Banabeto in all the world religions. So my brothers in the Hebrew camps, Banabeto, Banabaisolele, while you continue to cling to the information the Mundele feeds you, ask us on the continent just what has been revealed to us. Because the Mundele has taken your history, mapped up the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud, to your scriptures. So that's why you're unable to make heads or tails of these stories, because they just take what was passed down orally to Banabeto and the scrolls that they stole from our holy places and deceive us. And As we continue to look into Nsiemi, who had Nimrod's body cut into pieces and sent out to the nations as a warning against idolatry, what we know is that Mweru cut off the failures of Samahongo, the one-eyed protagonist. Two, the sons and daughters of YAMAZULU, of the divine the divine cosmic creator, utata wa BANTU, so nini na nini somandla, TATA NZAMBI, MPUNGU TULENDO. Religious scholar Alexander Hislop says that Nimrod was actually Ninus, a Babylonian king. Hislop was the first to make the claim. Many historians from antiquity and the Middle Ages believe that Nimrod was Ninus and the founder of idol worship near the end of the 1st century. Clement, in his Clementine recognitions, alleged that the Greeks knew Nimrod as Ninus. One thing you have to understand, Banabeto, about the Chitauri, one of their characteristics is that they hide in plain sight. They like to control the system of those that they enslave. So I urge you, Banabeto, to take a look again at the movies they're showing you. I can only divulge that because if I go into further details, they will shut me down. But there are other platforms that this information will be made available. But that is just a sneak peek of what we've been able to gather back on the continent. So they might tell you that Msindisi was coming to rule with an iron scepter. No, that is JC, the son of Dagon, the son of Samahongo, because he has sons and his remnant are still here. And just as we see in Daniel 2:4, and just as you saw, the iron mixed with and baked clay, so that the people would be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. Clay, sons of Muntu. Iron, sons of Samahongo. The manifestation of Imbi, evil, Impi. So, purpose to seek and search out the Tula of TATA NZAMBI. For your research, go look into Lake Mweru. Lake Mweru, just Lake Mweru to that. And that's Banabeto by the KEMBO, for the KEMBO, by the NGOLO of Tata Weto, YAMAZULU, Bawo wa Bantwana, Abangone, the one who lives Kiti Chabukonzi Eleki Makasi, is your Bantu war with the sons of Anak connection. Know thy enemy, Banabeto. Know thy enemy. Know exactly who you're fighting. Do not fight amongst yourself, for that is what the enemy wants. They have been hiding in plain sight. They have exposed themselves. We were just under their spell, unable to discern their ways. But as the spirit of TATA NZAMBI continues to use his ngunzas, those touched with the fire, we continue to reveal these things to you in humility. Kembo Kembo na TATA NZAMBI. kumfumu chako Yisaya sonini na nini somandla. I pray you receive this message in humility. That is as much as I was allowed to give to you, Banabeto. Do your own research. Verify. If you do stumble upon something I might have missed, my email is in the description. Let's undo what has been done. Let's rewrite the history as it should be. Kembo kembo. Nayona tata nzambi kumfumu chako Yisa sonini na nini somandla. And I continue to ask you, Banabeto, ungubani, who are you? Know thyself. Bayete.
Rise of a Nation, sounds from a liberated Bantu.
Yakubibanabantu. Mtoto wa Kibantu.
All praises to Nini na Nini. Unhandler Banabantu.